If you've ever been a renter, you know it's stressful to find a place with everything you love and nothing you don't. But did you know Zillow does rentals? It makes the search so easy. They have filters for pretty much everything, so you can find that place that's in your budget, but also isn't a shoebox. Or a place that's close to your parents, but far enough they have to call first. Plus, it's easy to apply, request tours, and pay rent in the app. Head to ZillowRentals.com and find your sweet spot.
No matter where you are, there's probably a Speedway right around the corner. So whether you want a freshly brewed hot or iced coffee, fountain drink, or speedy freeze, Speedway's got the fuel to keep you going all summer.
Hoop ballers. Let's talk about your balls. Yep, your balls and the area around them. Let's talk about manscaped.com. Go there and use promo code HoopBall20, HOOPBALL20. Use the promo code and go check out all the tools they have of trimming the hedges and taking care of your lawn. Like the Lawnmower 3.0 with a built-in LED light to help you get into those dark dye crevices on the inner parts. Also, the Gooch. It is hard to get to the Gooch if you can't see it. So use the LED light with the anti-tugless technology on the razor. Full, long battery life. Then check out the Weed Whacker. Bring that out of the shed. Use it on your shrubs. Cut down what you need, down to bare minimum if you need to. It's got a nice anti-tugless technology just like the Lawnmower 3.0. It's also got a lithium battery. And best news of all, these things are waterproof. So that way you can do it in the shower and take care of business in the cleanest way possible. Hoopball20 is the promo code that's going to get you free shipping as well as 20% off. I recommend using it. I recommend getting the complete care kit with your free shipping and your 20% off. Spend a little extra, get a lot more. There's a good care kit there for us gentlemen: face scrub, shampoo, ball treatment, and the area that surrounds our balls. I believe there's even a pair of underwear in there for our balls. So yeah, that's going to conclude the talk about our balls. Now let's talk about bets. MyBookie.ag is where all the hoop ballers take care of their winnings and where we place all of our wagers that we post in our article in the Wager Pass, as well as our free plays and our Discord chats. Yes, MyBookie.ag. Use promo code HOOPBALL, HOOPBALL. Let them know that we sent you. Hell, specifically type in my name. I want them to know. But most importantly, you got to let them know what podcast that is. And it is Today in Sports Betting. You let them know that we sent you, and then we as a family get to grow. And then we get to set you up to reap more benefits. And that is what's important to us, because we are here to help you win money. And that is why we recommend MyBookie. Their slogan is bet, win, get paid. And it's quite simply that easy. Use Bitcoin to get going. It's a high recommendation of VM Center at Vince Miracle, our guy. It's a recommendation of me. It's so easy. Dan Bespris, the Podfather, Aaron Bruschi, the Godfather, they get in there, they get going with Bitcoin, they get their money in and out, and it's easy peasy. Hoopball's the promo code. Use that. Let them know that we sent you. MyBookie.ag. Bet, win, get paid. Now, as a podcast, we have your balls and your bets covered. And without further ado, we have Today in Sports Betting.
The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hoop Ballers! Welcome back to another episode and another edition of Today in Sports Betting. I'm your host, Devin Ellington, or at DALE007 on Twitter. You can find the rest of the guys, the rest of the team, Specifically our man, Riley Sorbo, at Riley Sorbo, Sorbo. He's got the free play duty today over at Hoopball Gaming. I had 2 winners in a row, lost on the Royals run line yesterday. I didn't really think the Royals were going to lose a series to the Baltimore Orioles, but it happened. So moving on, Riley's going to have a nice play for us today. Don't forget the promo codes for manscaped.com as well as mybookie.ag. You'll hear me talk about those in a pre-recorded segment, but I always like to do some light brushing. Also, hoop-ball.com. Make sure you go over there, check out some of these new fantasy articles that are coming out. We got mock drafts popping up left and right. We got the NBA draft that's going to be happening soon. We have draft coverage and mock drafts for all the NBA teams. Make sure to follow the team-specific coverage for your needs. The Sacramento thread is popping off. They like the chances of getting some really nice talent this year in the draft. So let's get into today's show. We are going to have a special show today. We're going to have a little 2-part segment. First, we are going to be joined by an amazing college football contributor. We're going to be talking specific football to Louisiana Tech. We are going to be joined by the Ben Carlisle. And, without drawing this out too much, because I'm excited and really just want to get the guest in here, get his thoughts on some things, let him spill the beans. Louisiana Tech alumnus, former baseball player for Louisiana Tech, publisher of the Bleed Tech Blue podcast, at Bleed Tech Blue on Twitter, host of The Edge on Sports Talk 97.7 FM, situated out in Ruston, Louisiana. Ben Carlisle, at Ben Carlisle 37 on Twitter. Ben, thank you so much, man. Like I said off air, I am excited to talk Louisiana Tech football. And welcome to Today in Sports Betting.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Pumped up to talk some Louisiana Tech football. It's crazy that we're less than 50 days away from the college football season getting underway.
It just seemed like yesterday where I saw the mark was at like 75. I got these key numbers for college football offseason. I'm like, all right, 75 days. I can make it to 50. And, now you talk about it. We're at 50. So before we know it, we're going to be at 25. And then we're going to be kicking the season off with Mississippi State on September 4th. So going into this season, you guys are returning a lot. You've got a lot of transfers coming in. And
if you've ever been a renter, you know it's stressful to find a place with everything you love and nothing you don't. But did you know Zillow does rentals? It makes the search so easy. They have filters for pretty much everything, so you can find that place that's in your budget, but also isn't a shoebox. Or a place that's close to your parents, but far enough they have to call first. Plus, it's easy to apply, request tours, and pay rent in the app. Head to ZillowRentals.com and find your sweet spot.
Meyer brand snacks promise the great value you expect with a quality guarantee in every bite. And summertime snacking is our most favorite snacking season of all because Meyer brand makes it deliciously easy. From new lemonade flavors to classic ingredients for backyard s'mores to creamy ice cream varieties like new limited edition Purple Cow by Meyer Very Berry Americana with ribbons of real strawberry and blueberry swirls waving in creamy vanilla ice cream. Stop into Meyer and discover big taste and bigger savings on Meyer brand summertime snacks.
This team is pretty interesting. Do you have a favorite narrative going into this season?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I don't know if, you talk about the experience returning. They've obviously added 14 transfers. The issues a season ago, obviously they went 5-5 overall, lost to Georgia Southern in the New Orleans Bowl. Had some major issues defensively in the secondary. Offensively, the O-line really struggled. They've tried to plug some holes up there. I think they've added 4 defensive backs, 3 coming from SEC programs. They've added 3 grad transfer offensive linemen. So they've tried to fill some holes through the transfer portal. As far as the narrative coming in for this year, and I'm sure you guys cover it or have discussed it, you talk about betting lines and the over or under. I think the over or under for this team in Vegas is about 4, maybe 4.5, depending on the book. And I've told people I think it's the easiest over in college sports. And I don't know if that's necessarily my belief that Louisiana Tech's that good of a football team as much as it is, have you seen what Conference USA has been for a number of years? There's just no way that this Skip Holtz coach team wins less than 4 games. So I think coming into the year, like you said, a lot of new faces, a lot of guys returning experience. They've added Austin Kendall, West Virginia transfer quarterback last week or a couple weeks ago. So I think they got a chance to be pretty good, but the big key will be, throughout the rest of the month of July and into August, can you get these new pieces gelling with some of the returning pieces that makes yourself play good in some of those early season games when you talk about Mississippi State, a top 15 FCS program in Southeastern. You got SMU in week 3 at home. You start conference play with North Texas before closing out non-conference play at NC State. So it's pretty challenging early on. And the key for Holtz and his staff will be getting all these new pieces accustomed to what they want to do on both sides of the ball.
Well, you alluded to a few very good points that I'd like to piggyback on all of them there. Skip Holtz being the coach, that's automatically a good starting point. The continuity that he brings, as well as the guys on the coaching staff. Second-year defensive coordinator David Blackwell, the continuity between those units, even all the way down to the special teams. You mentioned the SEC guys, Miles Mason from Arkansas, which Phil still has him as his, as a number 51 player. So that's a nice get for the secondary. You talked about the grad transfers on the line. I really like the kid from Lehigh. Really interesting tape from what I saw from him. And then, Southeast Louisiana. It's that's a pretty daggone good FCS team. And then the last one, yes, the over on 4.5. That is just absolutely ridiculous. The way I look at the beginning of this schedule, I think that getting one of those against Mississippi State and NC State is very possible. And then you sandwich potentially 2 losses, on the outside of 3 wins. Because I think if they lose Mississippi State and North Texas, NC State, that they win Southeast Louisiana, SMU, and North Texas.
And just to kind of piggyback on that, I think the big swing game for them over especially those first 5 games is SMU game.
Yes.
It's an AAC program. It's a team that Tech competes with recruits for. Sonny Dykes, obviously the former head coach of Louisiana Tech that's now at SMU. He's done a good job at building that program. You kind of have the storyline, Tanner Mordecai, an Oklahoma transfer, Austin Kendall, a kid that started his career at Oklahoma. So there'll be a lot of storylines in that one. But for me, when you look at the first 5 games, that's the swing game. If you can win that game, it does. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but it takes away some of the significance of stealing a game against a Mississippi State or an NC State.
And may, make up for a little bit of that sting, especially if the Mississippi State game is close. I think that's going to be an interesting game, This schedule overall, this has been one of my more favorite schedules to dig in. And I think the fact of the matter is because we start with that 4-win total that they've put on the season. And that's just a little bit of a slap in the face of Skip Holtz, in my opinion. Last year was obviously really weird for just about every team. We can always make that case for any preview that we do coming into this season. But what I like about y'all's schedule is the back end of it. Sure, you got some challenging games. At UAB is going to be tough. Hosting UTSA, they're a bit improved. Frank Harris, another year there at quarterback. Southern Miss, I really like Southern Miss this year to kind of ho-hum a little bit this year. But your guys' linebacking core, Ben, Probably the best. I'd say the best in the conference returning.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, really savvy kids there. And, really, so I love defense, right? So I love a good linebacking core. So I will definitely be looking to you guys' team this year a lot to watch some good linebacking play. Out of those three there or four, there's like 3 or 4 really talented kids that get featured in sets there. Who's the bread and the butter in those linebackers there? I mean, we saw the true freshmen stick out last year.
Yeah, I think you look at the top 2 guys, probably Tyler Grubbs and Trey Baldwin. Of course, you talk about Grubbs last year as a true freshman. He was probably 3rd or 4th on the depth chart entering the year. We saw what COVID did as far as taking players in and out of the lineup. He gets an opportunity in week 1 at Southern Miss. I think he had 15, 16, maybe 17 tackles in his first career start. He never exits the lineup. He becomes a freshman All-American. Not the biggest guy in the world, not the fastest guy, probably 6 foot, 6'1", 215, 220 pounds, but has a nose for the football, really good in the run game. And you talk about Trey Baldwin. He's a kid that Tech ended up signing out of Trinity Valley Community College a few years ago, started his career at Missouri. He is one of those bigger kids, 6'1", 6'2", 235 pounds, can really run sideline to sideline. But I would agree with you. I think they got the best linebacking core in the conference. I think the big question defensively, and I know you mentioned it earlier, with David Blackwell entering the second year of his tenure at Louisiana Tech, is you add the guys on the back end defensively after you aren't able to play any sort of man coverage a season ago after losing 2 guys to the NFL in Amik Robertson and L'Jarius Sneed. Now you're more comfortable with the back end. How does that change how Blackwell can scheme some things on that side of the ball? He's a pressure guy. He's brought pressure his whole career. He couldn't do it a year ago. So I think that we're going to see Tech bring a lot more pressure with the linebackers, with some safeties, a Miles Mason, a B.J. Williams, and some of those guys coming down into the box. Now that they know they can hold up on the back end at corner, so that this team can force some more either lost yardage plays or turnovers or whatever it may be. And that's why I'm so optimistic about this defense, that while they do return 10 starters, I would imagine only 6 or 7 of those guys actually start. So that increases your depth as well.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, they are going to need to be creative to make up for losing Milton Williams in the middle there. I mean, that guy was just every time I watched him, it was just like he was pushing 2 linemen by himself, essentially. That guy was a space filler. And then you talked about Grubb's nose for the ball, 99 tackles and 8 tackles for loss. I mean, that's just, as a true freshman, that is impressive. And his film is very awesome, listeners. If you got some extra time, go watch some Tyler Grubb's film. Man, I feel like we've talked about a lot and we've barely talked about the Austin Kendall thing, like that's, I'm in Big 12 country. So he was a big recruit coming into the conference between West Virginia, OU, all that good stuff. And I think this is going to be a great signal caller for Lou Holt. I knew I was going to do that at some point, for Skip Holtz. And I mean, how excited is Ruston for this kid? Are you guys buzzing?
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. And he's a kid that, like you said, started his career at Oklahoma, backed up Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray for a few years, headed off to West Virginia for the first year of the Neil Brown era in Morgantown. And he's got some experience. I think he has 9 career starts under his belt. And, Tech's quarterback room, you look at it on paper, Luke Anthony was coming back for his extra COVID year off of a gruesome broken leg from a year ago. Aaron Allen played some as a sophomore last year, and then you're pretty young behind those 2 guys with 2 true freshmen in J.D. Head and Caleb Holstein. And so I think that bringing in Kendall, of course, I believe he was brought in on July the 6th is when it was made official. To add a guy like that into your quarterback room, you talk about how highly recruited he was out of high school. There's no doubt about it. You watch him throw the football, you watch him move around back there. He's uber talented. Now, has it all clicked at any point in his career? I don't imagine so. But Skip Holtz has some experience with this. Jeff Driscoll came in from Florida back in 2015, had a monster year with over 4,000 yards, turned himself into an NFL draft pick. And so I think that's kind of the view as far as what Kendall can be for this offense. He's not going to be asked to throw for 350, 400 yards a game. They're really good in the backfield with Marcus Williams, a transfer from Appalachian State, Keon Henry Brooks, a transfer from Vanderbilt. So they'll run the ball probably 35, 40 times a game, use some play action off of that. But I think Kendall, his skill set, his ability to throw the football, especially vertically down the field, suits Skip Holt's style of offense that he wants to use perfectly, which is why I'm so optimistic about this team. Whereas 3-4 weeks ago, you kind of had to convince yourself a little bit that they could possibly compete for a conference championship.
Yes. Definitely young at the receiving group, but, we talked about the offensive line additions, and then on top of that, returning some starters. I think your guys' starts right now, current number is 63, probably a little different, shaken up with, some practices and all that, but young at receiver. But, Kendall just being able to get in there and get guys to the line, organize, situate, like no knock at all whatsoever to Anthony. And, hopefully his recovery goes well, because that, like you said, gruesome. That was just a bummer there. And great kid. Hope he bounces back. Again, Hoop Ballers speaking with Ben Carlisle of the Bleed Tech Blue podcast and native of Ruston, Louisiana. So if we need some good Louisiana Tech news, I mean, this is the guy to get it from. Also, you played baseball for Louisiana Tech, and
I sure did. Did.
All right, so
11 through 2014. It was a fun run.
Yeah. What positions did you play while you're out there?
Yeah. I played at baseball at Louisiana Tech from 2011 to 2014. Those were back in the days when Louisiana Tech was in the Western Athletic Conference. So pretty fun experience. I was a left-handed pitcher, so getting to go out to Hawaii for some conference games, San Jose, kind of tour the West Coast in a sense throughout my career. That's some pretty cool aspect of it. But had a lot of joy, a lot of fun times playing with a lot of quality baseball players throughout my time at Tech.
Yeah, 11 to 14. There were some, I remember some of those Louisiana Tech teams. Y'all had some talent through there, and the WAC. What a shout out and a throwback there. I love that conference, man. I wish that it was still around. You know what Idaho was in there with you guys?
Yeah. Idaho, New
Wyoming.
Mexico State.
Yeah.
San Jose State, Fresno. It was geographically, it wasn't a great fit for Louisiana Tech, but competitiveness wise, it was extremely. It was a really competitive conference, both in baseball and in football and in basketball.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For those of you who may be on the younger side and don't really know the WAC, I mean, Google it. But Ben, I told you we were going to talk about you a good amount on this show too. I mean, we wanted to talk some Louisiana Tech football, but radio is something that I have always been interested in. So I always love to ask these radio questions. Like, did you have a college broadcasting career? Were you doing the journalism side? How did that really, how did that come into livelihood for you?
No, actually, I did not. I was a business major at Louisiana Tech and actually started running Bleed Tech Blue back in January of 2017. Funny story, our first child, me and my wife's little girl, was born back in November, and I got this call on a Monday, and it was one of my good buddies. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm looking into stepping down from the site." He was like, "I would like for you to take it over." We kind of discussed it a little bit in the past, and I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm all in." And he was like, "All right, it's yours." He's like, "Radio show Tuesday night. So, start prepping, getting ready." And, I had done maybe a segment or two, maybe 15, 30 minutes of radio prior to that first night, the following night. And when you have to go 90 minutes, I think I was out of content within the first 15 or 20 minutes. But ever since then, I've grown more and more accustomed. I started doing The Edge here in Ruston, Sports Talk 97.7 FM Tuesday through Thursday morning, where we don't like we cover Louisiana Tech, obviously, but we're covering everything around the sporting world as well. And it's just kind of a passion of mine. I love doing it on the side when I get some time, and have really grown, like I said, to just absolutely love doing it.
It definitely is a fun thing. I mean, talking football, like what guy is not gonna like that? Congrats on everything that you got going on that front, even though you may or may not have planned it. But that's a really cool story. And the fact that a close friend was involved in the transition and all that good stuff, it just speaks volumes. And the fact that you get to cover Louisiana Tech football still, 4 years strong, that's something to be very, very, very proud of. And I'm just glad it's going well for you, man. Now, just speaking of your time on campus there, what was, and it doesn't have to be on campus, but maybe like a most recent or a distant past favorite memory of Louisiana Tech Bulldogs football? Was there a game that was more memorable to you from your time there or most recently?
That's a good question. A question I haven't thought about too often. I don't know. I think that probably as my time as a student goes, I think there's probably two things that stick out. 2011, Tech won the WAC championship. I'll never forget they actually beat New Mexico State 44-0 to clinch the title. But that was 4 quarters of driving rain. Just one of those experiences that you'll never kind of forget. That was pretty cool. Then in 2012, that was the year that Dykes really got it going in Ruston. And that was actually towards the end of my senior year, my 4th year. I ended up staying for 5, but that was the end of my 4th year. And Tech average, I believe, was like 51.5 points per game, one of the best offenses in college football history. So that was pretty cool to be a part of as well as a student.
Quentin Patton was on both those teams, wasn't he?
Yes, one of my favorite of all time.
Man, that kid. I remember when the first NCAA game that came out that he was eligible for. I used to use Louisiana Tech a lot against friends, and they hated trying to guard him. So
yeah, he is awesome. He was awesome.
Great route runner, speed for days. So getting to see that first and foremost, and the Sonny Dykes era, I'm kind of jealous of you, Ben. You've had some really cool Louisiana Tech football to watch. But, well, man, this is like, the unfortunate part of the show where I wish I could just keep talking to all these awesome, brilliant personalities and contributors I get to come on, have talked to on the show. But we're both busy, and you've got some other stuff to get to today. I've got some other stuff to get to today. I'm going to continue to look at Louisiana Tech football today and get excited for this. Obvious over 4 wins on the season total, but Hoop Ballers again, Ben Carlisle. Ben, I am going to let you, that sounds really pompous, and I don't mean it that way. Ben, please plug for us and tell us. I saw the North Texas article, the preview on that game. I'm going to read it again once we get done here. So any other nitty gritties that you can give us about Bleed Tech Blue, yourself, what you got coming for us here soon, man?
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at Bleed Tech Blue. You can follow me on Twitter at bcarlisle37. Like you said, come on over to bleedtechblue.com. It's just $9.95 a month. Doing previews over the next, I guess we have 3 weeks to go, previewing each of Louisiana Tech's opponent for the 2021 season. Fall camp starts up August the 6th. We'll have daily practice reports found nowhere else. So we're your number one home for all things Louisiana Tech athletics, and we'd love to have you join us at bleedtechblue.com.
There you go. There you go. Well, this was the first Louisiana Tech, purely driven based show. So I am happy with it. And I'm glad that we were able to do this because it's a team. I love my small market teams here. So, small conference, small market. I'm a guy for the medium-sized folk, That's just how I am. Ben, I can't thank you enough, partner. I'm looking forward to some future collaborative efforts, and I'm looking forward to see how this season goes for y'all's football team, and then for your, good wishes here this year as well, bud.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me on, and anytime you want me on, don't hesitate to reach out.
Oh, don't tell me that. You're never going to get rid of me.
I appreciate it, man.
All righty. Well, Hoop Ballers, again, you know how it goes. This is part of the show where I send you all of my good vibes and all of my good energies. I hope you have a great, safe day. I hope you had a great, safe weekend. It's Monday. Let's roll this week out. Let's work the wrinkles out, work the kinks out. We got some baseball to bet on today. We had Ben on the show to talk Louisiana Tech football, and it was a doozy. As always, I'm Devin Ellington at DALE007 on Twitter, sending you all my positive vibes, all my positive energies. Please have a good day today. Be safe, be kind. Today in sports betting is out.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.
There's just something about getting away to the Smoky Mountains. Step out on a hiking trail, zoom across a zip line, splash at water parks, shop till you drop, and say hello to the statue of our hometown hero, Dolly Parton. Discover the thrill of visiting the Smoky Mountains and reconnect with those you love the most in Sevierville, Tennessee. Learn more at visitsevierville.com. That's visit SEVIERVILLE.com.
Have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores.